Alright, what's up, guys? Okay, today we're gonna do a video about supports. Supports, in my opinion, they're really important in brown dust because they buff your stuff, right? They make them stronger. So supports are pretty important, and we're gonna talk about different things and about supports and stuff. Uh, Basically, okay, so in my opinion, every support is useful. Every support. Even Floria, which I mean, I think she's really bad for a 5 star, but she does stuff, right? She heals. Every support is good in Brown Dust, right? Having the buffs from supports is amazing. Supports also help you in Underground Arena. They throw your opponent off for the first few moves. Really good at that. They help you with clearing stuff, PvE, campaign, Evil Castle. Supports are just really important, alright? So in this video, I'm gonna cover how do we calculate support buffs, how how important they are that you use supports in the arena, okay? Alright, so first we're gonna talk about support buffs. How do you calculate buffs? Let's go with Walya, since she's new, she's the newest trophy in the new banner. Okay, so Walya uses defense as her base stat to count the boost. What this does is that the higher her defense, the more you get the boost, right? So as let's take plus 10, right? Plus 10. There's more for me to calculate. Okay, so basically an average of 60 defense with probably she has 10% base defense, right? So with two 25% shield runes, she'll have 60%. Alright, so let's take that as a general counter. Okay, so at plus 10, Walya will boost your crit rate by 30%. Okay, that's pretty high. 30% crit rate, and her defense will boost your attack boost by 100%. So it's 60% of an attack. Alright, so what does this mean? Crit rate is pretty much easy to understand. Okay, now let's talk about attack. Let's say I have a Leto, right? My Leto is 2666 attack with runes, right? So 100% uh, of 60% defense, right? So it's 60% boost of 2666. So the math would be 2666 plus 1599.6. All right, so Leto with a single support buff, Walya plus 10, okay, that buff, he will have 4265 attack. Right, so that's how you calculate buffs. Right, crit rate is pretty self-explanatory. Crit rate with 50% boost, right? So 60 divided by 2 is 30% crit. So he will have 50% crit rate. Right, pretty simple to count, and that's how it works mostly for a lot of supports. Let's go with arenas. Arenas, everyone has arenas, right? So at 6-star Awaken, her support stat is 164.96. This stat is the support stat. Alright? Supports don't attack, so they don't have an attack stat, so it's replaced by the support stat. Alright, so let's count. Support times 40%. So 40% of this number, 40% of 164.96. Alright, so that would be, it's like I'm teaching math, I think. 65.9. Alright, about 66% boost in attack. Alright, so at 6-star awakened, she boosts attack by 66%. Okay? Crit rate, so it's 5% of 164.96. It's not a lot, to be honest. It's about 8% crit, so it's not a lot. Okay, but it is still a boost. And so on and so forth. That's how you calculate support stats and how you get it on and know how much buffed how much more buffed your unit will be. Your damage dealers, your mages, your tanks. Alright, since this is barrier. It all works the same way. Alright, so it's addition. So the buff on the unit adds on to what the unit has. Alright, based on the base stats of the unit that you are buffing. Alright, so Foxy, let's say you're gonna boost crit rate. So crit rate is just addition, right? Add, and crit damage is addition as well. Alright, you can't buff HP. You can buff attack and agility. Alright, agility is addition as well. I hope that makes it clear how support stats and how they buff and how much they buff work. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about chaining supports and using them well. Okay. Supports are a good thing. Why? Because with supports, you are able to jump the buff. Alright, literally, you don't have to target exactly onto the next unit. So you can actually chain with mages, because mages do not hit on the first round. All mages are 2 rounds. They have to charge first, and then they cast a spell next on the next round. Alright, if you played the game a little, you should know. So what happens is, okay, so with my formation right now, 1 to Levia, right? So these 4 are buffed, and then you skip to 3, and then to 4, Valfern, and then next, the first hit comes from Eden, alright? And since Walya is a new unit and everybody is like wondering whether she's good or not, Walya, Moonlight, alright, Moonlight, I'm gonna call her Moonlight. Where's my Moonlight? Okay, what does Moonlight do? Moonlight gains a taunt and doesn't waste a turn. This is really good, alright, in Brown Dust, because normally for a taunt to activate, like Sears, right, it is after she attacks. So basically you get a taunt without attacking yet. Alright? And normally tanks that taunt Aaron, Diomaran, Seer, just to name a few, their attack isn't that good. So you wouldn't want to lose your attacking advantage. If you watch my other videos on PvP, attacking advantage, watch the advanced guide. You want to be able to kill something first because you are having the first hit advantage, right? So doing a taunt first on Seer is not very good because she's very unlikely to kill something. Alright? While Walya, she has a taunt without even using your attack yet. So this basically means that you can control where the enemy attacks for their first hit. Right? You can control where the enemy goes for their first hit. Alright, so what it means is you can control what happens. Meaning, I can place a bomb next to Walya. And so because the DPS from the opponent is gonna hit Walya no matter what, because the taunt is active, they are gonna hit the bomb. If they are a Sigmund, a Foxy, it's 2 tiles. If they're an Eden, it's 2 tiles, they die. Alright, so that's how you control. We can do the Zenith bait, which I do not really like, but it is a strat. Alright, so taunt, enemy DPS hits onto Walya, bam, concentrated fire counter onto their DPS, which is in the middle of their lane, and then you can kill stuff because it's a taunt on their units. Alright, so basically it's a strat like this. Okay? And why is Walya so good? It's because she buffs at the same time, right? She's a support. So what happens is I get a buff, right? I can buff. So I'll just Walya will buff, and then she gets the taunt, and you can continue the chain. An example would be something like, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? So something like this. So it goes here, mage cast, 3, 4, and then Eden goes. So you get a lot of benefits from using Walya. So she is really, really top tier. Okay, but that's just one support. And I basically just showed you how to chain supports with mages, right? Because for the first round, the mages aren't gonna attack. The first hit will always be a warrior or a tank or a defender. Okay, I hope that's clear. And this is why supports are so good, because they make your unit stronger, and you're able to do you're able to okay, another strat probably, which is not widely used. I guess it's not really practical, but it can be. So you can do a defending team with Walya, okay, with Walya, and your opponent has a Walya. Walya's taunt lasts 8 turns. So if you are defending and you are able to chain 8 turns, or maybe 6 turns, with a couple of mages and stuff and supports, the person attacking you, the enemy, the guy with the warrior, right? The taunt will expire before you hit. So it's not a good strat, but it can be done and it works in such a way. I hope that makes sense. All right. Okay. What else can we talk about supports? Okay, supports and what is important for the growth of supports. Supports need to be as high a rarity as you can possibly make them. Alright? So if you can make them 6-star and awaken and max level, this support stat is big, right? So this is a bigger number than if it's 4-star or 5-star. Like, okay, let's say Hyunwoo. Hyunwoo is 151 support, which means that the buff is weaker than a 6-star support that has more at same skill level, like Ceres maybe, that has a higher support number here, support percentage. So you have to try to max level and get them to as high a rarity as possible that you can, your best ability, to make the best use of a support. Okay, because the bigger the number, the bigger the buff, right? Sounds simple, right? So for supports, level and rarity is very important. So you want to get that as high as you can to use the support effectively. Okay? Now skill levels on supports. In Brown Dust, skill levels is like a power meter of how strong your units are. The higher the skill level, the more stronger they are. Okay? What do I mean by this? Let's take Hyunwoo because he's pretty common. At +0. Support times 5% boost crit rate. That's a super low number. But at +10 or +9, okay, the last boost is +9, it's 15%. So it's 3 times more of a boost. Alright? So having high skill levels on supports is pretty important. And what this means is with this, okay, so assuming 151.18, alright, 151.18 times, let's go with uh, crit rate, alright, times 15%, 0.15. 22.67, all right, at plus 9. All right, so 22.67 crit rate. Now we compared it to a Walya that is plus 0. All right, a plus 0 5-star support. All right, so we take the same number as just now, 60%. That's pretty easy to reach. 60% defense. So Hyunwoo's buffs 22.67 crit rate, right? Percent. Walya's defense 60% times 0.2. Walya's buff for crit rate is 12% crit rate at plus 0. Alright, so in this case, a 3-star base rarity support does more of a buff than a 5-star support at plus 0 because the 3-star unit has more skill ups. Okay, so in this case, you can see very clearly that using a 3-star base support is better than using a 5-star support, if that makes sense. Okay, this is just an example, but it is like that. That's how it works. All right, even if I give you another example and do some more math, a 3-star base, which is high skill and at the same rarity at the as the 5-star support or 6-star support. So 6-star and 6-star, you compare apples to apples, right? Not apples to oranges. When you compare based on skill ups, the 3-star base rarity unit support is always going to be better than using the 5-star base one with no supports, no skill ups. All right. Oh my god, I'm not really thinking straight, but okay. I hope this makes sense to you. And this is why, as a new player, you use your 3-star supports. You try and get them to 6-star if you can, and they'll be really, really useful for you for campaign, to clear, to deal more damage, to heal, depending on what support you're using. Alright? I'm not gonna recommend you guys any supports, like which unit is better for support in this video, because I think all supports are useful for at least one thing. Right? Whatever they're good at, they are at least useful. So there's no point ranking them. But what I can say is uh, a support with a removal and maybe a stats immunity or debuff immunity is always going to be good. Alright, example Veronia with debuff immunity buff on allies, really really good. Ceres, make allies immune to stats weakening skill types, also really good. All these kind of skill types on the supports are amazing. Alright, they protect your team in arena or for PvE campaign. Anais is a very good example. Alright, she makes allies to be immune to debuffs. Very, very good. Alright, and at plus 9, I think, plus 9, her range is huge. It's 3 times 3. Very, very good kind of buffs, you see. You don't want to get bleed, you don't want to get burned, you don't want to get dots, you don't want to get stunned. So having different kinds of supports which do these kind of removals and immunity buffs, it's pretty good. Like Hyunwoo removes attack interference skill types. Attack interference is charm, stun, freeze, and so on. Alright, so when Hyunwoo buffs the unit, it removes all the problems that they have. Really, really good. Many units, they have these kind of buffs. So this is why supports are so important. Alright, so if you're a new player and you don't know what a support's used for, and hopefully this video helps you understand what they're used for, how to calculate how effective they are, and so on, right? Okay, I forgot what I was gonna say for the last part. All right, arena. Okay, so let's go for a brief explanation. In arena, for a proper arena team, all right, you want to use at least two supports. All right, at least two supports, in my opinion. You can go with a single support if your units are very good and your single support is very good. All right, you can do that. So example would be Vanaka, because Vanaka single support, her buffs last 35 turns, and that is a lot of turns. So even if she dies, right, 35 turns for Vanaka, even if she dies, the buffs remain on the allies, and this works. And by using one support, you don't get that much of a boost, but the buffs will remain there if it's Vanaka. Okay, this is an example. But using two supports is generally the what people do, right? So you can boost your units enough that they're strong and they can one-shot things. Because in arena, not one-shotting things is bad. You want to one-shot and kill things for your damage units, right? This applies to them. So you want to buff them to be strong enough to one-shot stuff. Okay? So I think my opinion is in arena, the max you can use is 3 supports. Alright, so triple buff on a DPS to kill stuff is more than enough in my opinion if the DPS is half decent. Alright, Yunrang triple buff, Leto triple buff, they will definitely kill stuff. Alright, with decent supports as well. This decently skilled up, decently leveled, they will kill things. Alright, but 3 is the max. If you go more than that, your supports have to be very unique and provide you with things other than supporting. If not, your team is going to be too weak because you don't have enough tanks, you don't have enough damage. That will be the issue for you. Example would be Asmod. Asmod damages, he kills stuff. Alright, he kills stuff because of this skill. So he's a special support that is unique. Walya is a special support that's unique because she taunts. So you can use an extra spot for her in your team just because they are unique. They do something different from other supports. Okay, you can, but it's not ideal to go that many supports. Alright, but you can. Alright, and now I'm going to introduce to you again, if you haven't watched my other videos, the most important support in the game, Sabrina. She's not the best, but she's very important because she gives you world boss points. Alright, in my opinion, she's the most important. You need to have a Sabrina. For you to have good points total in Zaratan and Tarion world bosses, you need Sabrina. And world bosses give you diamonds every day, ancient coins every day. So it is a must, alright, for constant income of diamonds and ancient coins. You need Sabrina. Right? Work on getting her. She is probably the most important. She's not the best support, but she's the most important, right? For the growth of your account. Alright guys, I hope this video hasn't been too long. And I hope you actually learned something and I hope it helps you out. Anyway, check out my other PvP videos if you're interested in being better at Arena. I hope they actually, I think they help, you know. And I also have a lot of guides on my channel. So if you like this video, like, share it with your friends who may need to watch this to learn something. And subscribe to my channel, man, and catch me on stream. Um, I stream really erratically timings and stuff, but if you sub, you can tell when I'm streaming because I stream on YouTube and Twitch. Alright guys, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go. Take care. Ciao.